Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first official broadcast of the 2014 USBC Open Championships. This is Matt Kennis, our Media Relations Manager here at the tournament, alongside Aaron Smith. We are behind lanes 39 and 40 at the National Bowling Stadium today. We're going to take a look at PBA50 Tour champion Mike Diaz and his talented teammates. They took the regular team lead yesterday. We'll have all the details on that and more as we settle in for 6 games of doubles and singles here. So we do appreciate everybody joining us. Thanks to Track, the official Bowl TV sponsor this year at the Open Championships. We're just finishing up the last 2 minutes of practice, and then we'll be underway shortly. Thanks for tuning in. All right, folks, and with that, we are underway. Doubles and singles here at the National Bowling Stadium 2014 USBC Open Championships. Doubles will be first. And a change from last year, 6 players on a pair instead of 4. And all 6 games pulled on the same pair of lanes. The change went over very well, slowed down the pace of these gentlemen yesterday took the regular team lead with a 32-36 total, the first 3,200 of this year's event. And they're looking to add to that today, of course. Double singles and team all events also on the line here. Here's your first look on lane 40. PBA50 champion Mike Diaz, the left-hander. Slow and steady. He starts things off with a strike. Up on the left now, long time PBA regional standout David Anthony. Will have some details about his long career as the broadcast progresses as well. Up now, Mike Dre. He led the way yesterday in the team event with a 7:03 set. David Anthony 6:72. Matt Rush 6:61. Mike Diaz 6:44. And Alex Diaz 5:56. Dan Streeter and Ron Hosler on the companion team. Yesterday shooting 29.09. Ron with a 300 here at the Open Championships. So a very talented group. A lot of strikes thrown between them. No doubt we'll have an exciting afternoon here for doubles and singles. Got a new setup here this year. We've streamlined the production. Aaron Smith coming on board once again. He's our technical whiz in the booth today. Just getting the headset on. He is ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. It is the star of today's show.
The star of today's show is on the lanes right now. What are you talking about? It really is a solid group. I heard you kind of giving them a brief introduction, but just getting to watch them bowl yesterday. They really are it's really a solid group of shot makers, for one, and second, one of the great things I like about this group, with this being the first look at the doubles and singles pair, we got a nice variety of players out here as well. We got a few lefties in Ron and Mike Diaz. Alex Diaz gets on the ball a little bit more. Mike Dre is probably a little bit less than him. Then David Anthony's the straight player of the bunch. So you get to see a few angles attacked here, and we'll see what they do to this 40-foot sport bowling certified condition as well. Assuming we don't break it somehow.
Don't jinx it. So far so good. The new setup working well. Lucas Wiseman checking in from back home, making sure things are running smoothly as well. Smith, the man with the plan. He's got all the documentation. He's holding the top 10, clutching to it right now. Checking out the numbers these guys are chasing down here in doubles. And of course, singles to follow and all events.
Of course, as I'm sure you mentioned, this group, Mike Dre, Alex Diaz, David Anthony, Mike Diaz, and then Matt Rush, who's one pair to our right. Ended up taking over the regular team lead last night with 32-36. We actually had 4 teams total crack the top 10 of that squad. So we definitely have some players out here on this squad. So hopefully our folks at Center Desk are on attention and holding the fort for us while we're here behind 39 and 40 at the NBS. But as we watch regular doubles, the number these guys are looking for, 13-16 currently in the lead. Jason Akins and Darius Wiltz. Jason out of West Branch, Michigan. Darius out of Las Vegas, Nevada. 13-16 currently the number to make the top 10 early on here, 12:30. So scores probably a little bit on pace with last year so far. Definitely a little challenging out here on the fresh start. You got to work together. Got to let the lanes come to you before you go ahead and chase it and get yourself in trouble. So. In singles. In singles. Wow, that's much louder. Terrence Blevins, the only bowler so far at the 2014 event with a perfect game, is still on top of the standings with a 783. And all events currently held by PBA standout Curtis Odom out of Coldwater, Michigan. He's at the top of the standings with 2076. He went 707 in team, 628 to start doubles, and he's currently second in singles, 41. So those are just some of the numbers these guys are looking at. We're still working on the volume here. Always a fun test every time out, it seems like. Double for Mike Diaz. Son Alex looking to clean up the 6-pin over on lane 40. Unable to do so. 2 opens early for Alex.
We've had 1-300 on the books so far this year, and a lot of speculation about the scoring pace here in 2014, just from looking at the patterns. And I know there's a lot of experts out there, of course, and the theorists, and I did notice last week, just watching some bowling, how much bigger the lane looks when you're sitting back here with your suit and tie on. And certainly, I don't know, they call that armchair quarterbacks, backseat drivers. We'll certainly see. We'll let the early scores dictate. And then we'll have a better idea once we get some traffic through. We did just kick off on February 28th. It had been kind of light here early on. Today's actually one of our busier days of the year so far. We'll have a 7 p.m. team event tonight. Everybody just getting comfortable and probably wanted to take a look at some of the scores and kind of see how things are going before coming on out. And we'll run, of course, until July 13th here this year. And see about 50,000 bowlers coming through to take a shot at the Open Championships glory here in 2014.
Well, Matt, it's funny you mentioned scoring pace. I just pulled up the numbers from last year. We're currently 2 weeks in, and the scores are actually pretty close to what they were last year overall. The team score is a little bit higher. We were in the 3170s at this point. Last year was the leading total. That's second place right now. Doubles was a little bit higher. We were at in the 1340s already. We already had a 770 in singles, and all events was at 2051. So we're at 2076. So all those scores pretty much on pace with last year. But of course, you never know until you get out here, until you develop your plan to break them down and catch a break or two. David Anthony taking the nice light hit there. The regional superstar out in the Southwest.
Well, Aaron, as you know, you've been around this business long enough now that comparing one year to the next certainly helpful. But one of the great challenges of the Open Championships and one of the great things in general is that you get one shot at it each year, and then you know you're going to come back next year and it's going to be a different lane condition, a different look to the venue if it happens to be a back-to-backer like we have here in Reno. But it's a fresh start, brand new opportunity to find your success on the championship lanes. And this year, you know, the 43-foot team pattern and 40-foot doubles and singles pattern. Last year, of course, the first time we had two different lane conditions here at the tournament, where we had a 41-foot pattern in team event, 39 feet for double and singles. So not too much different there. But the ultimate goal, of course, is to give all bowlers the opportunity to find the pocket. So left-handers, right-handers, young, old, male, female, all different styles will have the opportunity to get the ball in play, get it to the pocket, and then what you do from there and repeating shots is the key to success here. Some years are going to be higher scoring, some years a little bit lower. Last year it took just $7.95 to win the singles event. I know our current leader, Terrence, looked up at the banner as he was bowling and knew that that being around 800 certainly would be a solid effort, and just 800 on the nose in 2012.
Say he was a hit away in the 10th for being at 790, and a spare missed early in game 3 after the 300. Already could have been there, but certainly I would walk away with a smile for about 4 weeks if I shot 780 in 3 games, maybe even 4. I'd be pretty happy about that. But.
See, and then you get a year like 2009, where a young man comes in and shoots 857 in the singles event, and you think there's no way that score's getting beat. That is your winner, even though it's still April. And then another young man comes along and shoots the highest score in tournament history, 862. So that's a great thing from our perspective at this event, is that even though the schedule is the same every day, you have no idea what's going to happen out of the lanes. So the quality of the players, when somebody's going to have a career day, that's what keeps it exciting, is that at any point, the screen and the monitor in the office can light up 7 in a row, could turn into 27 in a row just like that, and it could be the next Matt Wegan. Previously unknown on the national stage, all of a sudden making tournament history. Matt Wegan, of course, the first bowler in history with back-to-back 800s at the Open Championships. And he took home the regular singles and all events titles.
What a conversion there by Mike Dre to stay clean. The 3, 4, 6, 7, not a problem. But after an early double, he's talking with his doubles partner, David Anthony, right now. Trey and Alex Dees have a little bit more hand than some of the other guys on the pair here. They seem to be having a little bit tougher time trying to figure this out early on here. It's all about grinding it out early. That's what Curtis Odom did. Went to his old faithful Black Widow to start off. Grinded his way to a 2-0 game and then worked from there. And all of a sudden, once they got nice for his group, strikes started coming at a ferocious pace.
Ferocious.
Maybe not the word of the day, but it's a start. It's still early.
Say, David Anthony pretty ferocious here in game number 1. Spare 6-bagger to get things started. That's a good example there of what not to do on this USBC Sports Certified laying condition. These patterns will play a little bit flatter, not as forgiving as what you see at home traditionally. So if you miss to the outside, chances are it's not going to recover. If you miss in, probably not as much hold as you're used to. All part of the challenge.
David Anthony up in the 8th. Looking to keep it going. And he gets it. 7 in a row.
Anthony was 672 yesterday in the team event. Trying to get a jump start on Curtis Odom. Diaz with a nice washout conversion.
All right, let's see what Mike Dre can do here to get back on track. He's kind of been over under the past few shots.
Certainly that's something that's very easy to do as you try to get comfortable, and as these lanes are fresh, but a little bit of traffic and they'll start to open up a little bit and start to get more comfortable. As you said earlier, a grind out at the start. That's where some of the team strategy comes into play as well, breaking the lanes down together. It's kind of like a team event. Instead of 10 players, of course, you have 6. A shorter lane condition, so the idea is the same, though. Of course, players playing together when possible. We have 2 left-handers on this pair, and as a left-hander, that certainly helps because while we battle that initial blending of the pattern, the over/under, it's nice to have the additional help to help open things up a little bit. For those of you just tuning in, thank you. We have certainly reached out on Facebook and Twitter and bowl.com. We're everywhere. Thank you for stopping by on this Friday morning here in Reno. Matt Canizaro and Aaron Smith, live from the National Bowling Stadium, the 2014 USBC Open Championships, the first of nearly 30 broadcasts from Reno this year. New to this whole live streaming deal that we have here, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bowltv, and you won't miss a minute of live streaming action from all over the world. We're here in Reno. Lucas Wiseman, the Globetrotter, takes this show on the road every so often. You can find the live stream schedule for all USBC events on the main page of bowl.com on the right-hand side. Find the Open Championships live stream schedule at bowl.com/openchamp.
All right, David Anthony. 9th frame, here we go. That shot left off his hand. Only the 6 stands. And his run of strikes at 7 in a row.
So through 7 frames, Anthony already has bowled a higher game than either one of us attained the last year's Open Championships.
Unfortunately, that's a fact.
So we have a lot of work to do.
That we do, Matthew, that we do. There's a nice shot by Dan Streeter. Looks like he's a little further left than some of the other righties out there, and he's finding a little more consistent reaction. At least in the early on here, but
there's a big miscue by Anthony, missing the 6-pin to the right. So potentially expecting some hook down on the back of the lane and not seeing it, not yet at least. Still a little slick towards the outside. So for those of you watching at home, take note. Again, a great opportunity to see different styles at work here. A couple of lefties, straighter players. Chris Hester checking in the chat room to watch the left-handers. Furiously taking notes at home, I'm sure. It's a fast 8 for Alex Diaz there on lane 39. Ron Hosler clean. That's just his 2nd strike so far, though. So he's getting comfortable as well. But while you're grinding, you certainly want to make all your spares, and the strikes will come. be with you for all 6 games today. 3 games of doubles, 3 games of singles. This break there as Diaz gets the 10 to go late. Leaves just the 7. Anthony back up on the left. String of strikes came to an end as he missed left the 6 pin, and then was unable to convert. See if he can get back on track here.
Slaps the 10 out. The righty's best friend. After the trip forward, 2 coming forward, sawing a 9 out. All things I can't do, but
saw the nickel.
I'm better at that.
One of my favorite Aaron Smith terms.
Although in league on Wednesday, I had a pretty nice 4 or 5 top one, so that was pretty awesome.
It's the altitude, because back home in Texas, that stands up all day for you. But the thinner air, I guess.
It's got to be. It's the only reasonable explanation.
Anthony misses left again, so he'll be in the 240s here. Great start, but could have been so much more.
There's a strike for Dre. Still has 190s out there.
Big crowd on hand here at the National Bowling Stadium. Looks like Eric Forkel checking out the action from up above. Las Vegas crew coming in to bowl tonight. Saw Alan Frederick earlier. If you're going to watch anybody in the building, certainly the team leaders is a good idea. Yeah. And they are putting up a whole bunch of strikes and looking good through 1 game here. And the one battle that we've talked about a lot, we fought last year, is the transition. So all of these players not used to staying on the same pair for 6 games at the Open Championships. Most not even used to fresh oil every squad. So certain challenges came with those changes in 2013, and we saw what we called the Game 2 blues. Towards the end of Game 2 at doubles is when it was time to make a move, be brave. Last year's winning double score just 1440. Say just 1440.
I was going to say.
Still almost 200 pins higher than I've ever had here with my doubles partners. But as far as winning scores go, 1440. A little bit lower, but as expected with the fresh oil and the grind early. I think the big surprise was singles not being higher with staying on the same pair and being able to open up the lanes.
Well, there were a lot of, and obviously John Srinsky set the bar pretty high, 789, a very unbelievable number in its own right. That was in April, almost late April, and we saw a lot of people come out of the gates in singles. You know, obviously you're already on the pair for your 4th and 5th game by that point. Just come out of the gates firing, and we saw a lot of people making the turn. 520, 530, even a few 540s in there. But the 3rd game, or Game 6 overall in that pair, just seemed to trip most people up. Unless your name was Zeke Bate. Zeke got just enough to edge out Mr. Srinsky and was able to hold on a few more weeks, and the kid, all 21 years old, has an eagle. Curtis Woods Jr. in the house. Camden Rokita, and a very talented group out of the Midwest will be, I believe, on the 3 o'clock squad following this one. So wouldn't be surprised to see some more big scores in the next few hours. 245 for Dan Streeter. Finished up at 574 yesterday. Ron Hostler, 195. Rough game here for Alex Diaz out of the gates. Definitely struggling to find a consistent ball reaction. He's took out 4 there. That's why we bowl every game, though. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, we've certainly seen it all over the years, and some crazy things. That's right about a 300 game. The gentleman did not even shoot 600. So, but I think he's okay with that. It's just one of those things. Makes for a good story. Might be bad for brackets, but some of us here for the Eagles.
Well, even just last year, I'm not going to remember the gentleman's name. Greg Roberts, I believe. They worked together as a team in doubles, and that didn't play to his strengths. And I know he struggled out there. It was, I believe, sub 500. But the way they broke down the lanes, was able to jump in singles. He held on to that lead for a while. It was 770. So.
Well, we saw something similar in 2012 with our Team All Events champs, S&B Pro Shop, Nick Wissinger. Again, they played as a team. And sometimes it might not be your comfort zone, but for the greater good and down the road, 2 or 3 games later, you know, he wasn't as comfortable, and he started with a rough 160, 169, and then absolutely blasted them the rest of the way and helped carry them to the Team All Events title. And there's a whole lot of strategy involved. And we know some folks who may or may not live in the great state of Wisconsin who are strategizing and game planning from the minute that lane condition is released, if not before.
I think I heard of those guys.
Normally we try to get down to the lanes, or at least to the squad room, and find out a little bit about the equipment and the strategy before we head out to the lanes. And today, being the first broadcast of the year, just wanted to make sure everything was running smoothly. Did not get to talk to these gentlemen much at all to see what the game plan was coming into doubles and singles. So we get to watch it unfold as well.
I know after they finished up the team event at 3 o'clock here, a few of these guys were over at the Bowlers Journal, which features this very same doubles and singles pattern. There's a strike for Alex. So if you want to get a first-hand look to see what you're going up against, no better way than on the same lanes. Once again, the Bowlers Journal is in its own little area. But we actually have a squad going on right now on the high end of the National Bowling Stadium. So if you're in town early, want to get some practice in, want to get a feel for the lanes, and maybe even take home some prize money as well. I know Brian Hillner certainly enjoyed that opportunity last year, so then, of course, if you want to get a look at the team pattern, you can just head downstairs to the track showcase lanes, where you and your team can schedule a 1-hour practice session for 125 bucks. Get to work on your strategy for the team event, get loose, all that fun stuff. Then we also have down there a new side event. It's not necessarily new, but
it's new to us.
New to us. The Columbia 300 40-frame game. A little more fun. It's an interesting format, to say the least, and it's a good time. Good chance to get loose and throw a few balls down the lane, win some money as well.
And that event, a handicap singles tournament, has been around since 1989. It's been alongside the Open Championships since 1992, but this year, the first time it is in the same venue, under the same roof here at the NBS. So it's all bowling all the time. So many things going on here. If you're out here to compete, you're a competitive bowler. Plenty of opportunities, plenty of prize money on the line, up for grabs.
We mentioned track in Columbia. Track, of course, the presenter of Bowl TV at the Open Championships this year. So thank you very much for their sponsorship and the opportunity to join us here in 2014.
While we're talking about track bowling, a great opportunity to pick up a free gift. Everybody who participates in a team practice session down on the showcase lanes can pick up a free gift in the Ebonite Track Columbia booth. Certainly you want to get your reservations in. Go to bowl.com/showcase lanes. Give our folks a call, get your team signed up. Spots are few and going fast. Of course, splitting the showcase lanes with the 40-frame game of the day. Practice sessions will happen earlier in the day. 40-frame game squads starting at noon and later. So certainly act fast. You don't want to get shut out of that great opportunity to test your game plan before you hit the tournament lanes.
Mike Dre mixes them up there. Bounces back after the split in the second. Looks like David and Anthony already making a ball change here. I'm going to go out on a limb. It's kind of hard to see. I see my buddy Kevin Michalowski in the room right now. I believe he was throwing an X Factor Reloaded to in game number 1 there on his way to 240s. I can see the X Factor logo at the end of the ball return. Seemed to be a good change there for David. I can't remember any of the other X Factors being that kind of color. So I'm going out on a limb. But as soon as I finally figured out, he makes a ball change, so go figure. course, already part of the tournament record books here at the Open when he rolled a 300 game in, or I guess right here at the National Bowling Stadium during the 2010 tournament. Also talked to Ron a little bit yesterday. Interesting fact, he had back-to-back Sport 800s on the same day back in 2007. So it was on the Viper PBA pattern. Put up 806 and 828 all in the same day. Not a bad piece of work there. Like Anthony went back to that X Factor on lane 40. Not find the results he was looking for. Big four. Dre catches a break, crossing over. Cashes in a double there.
Things not going quite as smoothly here in game number 2. Misses do not end well, so just throw it great like that, like Ron did there on lane 40. And you don't have to worry.
There's a double for Ron. He was covering his spares last game, but he's having trouble finding that elusive double. Streeter covers up the spare. He's still looking for his first strike here in game 2. Great shot by Diaz. We hope everyone tuning in likes. I just see someone commenting about it. Glad that you like the layout on the screen. Somewhat similar to last year. Obviously, in the top right-hand corner, you can see the spinning track logo. Track is the presenting sponsor of Bowl TV at the Open Championships this year. And for those of you with the bandwidth to do it, you can be watching today's broadcast and hopefully all broadcasts from Reno this year in high definition. If you click on the gear setting at the bottom right of the video screen, select 720p, you get to check out the National Bowling Stadium and a little bit later on in the year, the Reno Sparks Convention Center in high definition. So you can see bowling quite clearly this year. We're getting fancy, Matt.
We are getting fancy. That's why we brought you in to handle it all. Because we all know how well I do with technology.
That's true.
We had a flawless setup today. And you guys got everything in working order during opening weekend. It only gets better every year. I know back in 2010 when we started this gig, it was quite the entertaining situation. We had one camera, one laptop, and a stick mic. And we just passed it back and forth between me and Emil. And if we wanted to see the scoreboard, we moved the camera. We wanted to zoom in, zoom out. We did it all by hand. We didn't take up much room because we didn't have much stuff, but it was entertaining to say the least. But here we are, just a few years later, streamlining for sure.
Yes, for a change, we're not in the way.
The National Bowling Stadium staff glad, I'm sure, to be able to,
as well as the fire marshal,
walk by with their drinks and such. And I only had one drink dropped on me though in all those years, and it was from up above in the bleachers. Took a Coors Light to the head.
Get rowdy up there from time to time.
Knocked a little sense into me.
It's about time then.
Certainly.
Yes, thanks to our good friend Lucas Wiseman. We're basically turnkey at this point. Assuming we figure out which wire goes into which spot, we should be good to go for more than 24 live streams here in Reno. And that's just counting the Open and the Women's. Of course, later on we have, or I guess the first extra event we have, we'll have, and I think it's going on this upcoming weekend as well, sectionals for collegiate to determine who makes the ISCs and ITCs. And all those kids will come right here to Reno, Nevada, in the Reno Sparks Center for the X-Bowling Intercollegiate Team Singles and Championships.
What's our sales pitch been all year? If it's happening in bowling, it's happening in Reno.
Did I say singles and championships? I probably did. Singles and team championships. I'm losing it here. But that'll be from April 14th through the 18th. And then we'll have a TV show for that as well. And then back here at the National Bowling Stadium in late June and early July, the USBC Queens and Senior Queens returns to the stadium. We'll be bringing all of that to you right here on Bowl TV. Right now we're watching a very talented group out of Colorado and a few from Texas as well. We took over the regular team lead yesterday with 32-36. They got stronger every game here. Over on lanes 29 and 30, 10-54, 10-68, and a big 11-14 in the finale. With a very nice 10th frame as well. They put on a show in the 10th frame. 3 of the bowlers at least doubled. Everyone else filled the frame up. 32-36. So these guys are walking away with at least leaving this event in the leading team. We'll see how it's looking at the end of the day. You never know. They're looking to add their name on the leaderboard a few more times before they're all said and done here. Stepping up on lane 40, Mike Diaz, his son Alex, up on the left lane. Both of them looking to continue their strings of strikes. Nice shot. Mike Diaz, PBA50 Tour champion right there. So we have a question about any outdoor bowling this year. As far as the Queens, I don't see us building the lanes out on Virginia Street once again. We did that for the U.S. Women's Open back in 2012, which made for a very interesting TV final. Quite a sight to see. As far as I know, all the fun stuff will be done right here in the National Bowling Stadium.
Do appreciate everybody stopping by. We're 439 strong at this point here in Game 2 of doubles. Behind lanes 39 and 40 at the National Bowling Stadium. Matt Kinizar and Aaron Smith. And I think the lesson of the day so far is make your spares. Crucially important on these challenging USBC Sport Certified lane conditions. Spares keep you in it for sure.
That's what I've been doing wrong all these years. I never learn.
Well, and that's why we're back here in the booth watching these great bowlers. David Anthony missed his left. Very tough spare there to 3-6-9-10.
As we mentioned before, David, a very well-known player out on the Southwest region. A 3-time PBA Southwest Player of the Year, a 3-time Pat Patterson Award winner. Got an RPC and an RPI title, so certainly can get it done out here. There's a nice shot for Streeter.
Aaron, it's only our first broadcast and we've gone global. Marcel checking in from Holland. So thank you for tuning in here. And the chat room, a great place to ask questions, and we'll do our best to answer those. If we don't know the answer, we'll either make it up or we'll go find out.
Making it up is much funner, but it tends to be frowned upon.
Aaron, did you just say funner on the broadcast?
Making up all kinds of different words this year.
Well, we do have a legitimate question in the chat room. So, how many places cash at the end of the tournament? That is a great question, and each event actually has a different cash ratio. And we'll have all of those details in a estimated prize fund available in the next few weeks as things kind of settle down and averages get verified. But while we're talking through this, I'll pull up last year's if I can and get some ideas of what those ratios are. But part of the allure of the Open Championships is that loaded cash number and just coming to get a piece of the pie. $5 to $7 million on the line, and that's spread out pretty far through all the bowlers. So certainly not a top-heavy event by any means. The big prize, of course, the Eagle. Great shot there by Diaz. Sharp shooting left-hander. This event, of course, open to all USBC adult members. 2 average divisions. 181 and above is the regular division. 180 and below the classified division. Team, double, singles, all events. And the big one, the team all events. That one doesn't pay anything, but that's the big guy, as they say. The marathon, the test of endurance, the test of versatility. All 5 team members, all events totals added together.
And our defending team all events champions will actually be the first group back in town to put their title up on the line. Junior Team USA Support 1 put up the 10th highest TAE score in tournament history last year with 10,247.
I do have some info for you here, Mr. Smith, and this is based on last year's numbers, but doesn't change very much, if at all. But in the team event, regular team, 1 in 4 entries would cash in. Regular doubles, 1 in 3.5. Regular singles, 1 in 3.5. In the classified division, in the team event, because there are much fewer teams, 1 in 8, 1 in 2.5. I'm sorry, that was regular all events is 1 in 8.
By the way, it's much lesser.
Nice. Regular all events, 1 in 8, because of course, while our main 3 events are $55 per person, all events just $15, so less prize money in the pool there. Classified team, 1 in 2.5. Classified doubles, 1 in 3. Classified singles, 1 in 3. And classified all events also 1 in 8. So the best ratios around the Open Championships. Come and get yourself a piece. Here in Reno, Mike Diaz wants a piece. Big shot there in the 8th frame. He still got 240 out there after a 191 start. David Anthony now up on the left, struggling here in game 2. Started with 247 with a missed single pin even. Now he's hoping for a big finish here. Ball a little bit shinier than what we saw earlier on that lane. But he's got the strike in the 9th, a possible 192.
Back nicely after his open in the 6th frame. He still has 230s out there. And the one thing we are without here in 2014 is our wireless capability. I know I saw a YouTube clip the other day of Mike Mullen and his group. They pulled during one of our live stream broadcasts, and we were able to send Matt McNeil down, I believe, with a wireless headset and mic to tell us what was happening on the other side of the venue. But we're locked down here in 2014. We do have a great view of this vast venue and a lot of folks in the building to help us out if we need to chase down some scores. That 2-8 trip, the righty's 6th best friend. Mike Dre finishes up 180. David Anthony looking to find what he had in game number 1. Unable to mix them up, lose the 2-8. high. Fortunate to only see a 4-pin up there right now. Spare strike, he can get to 200.
We did just get a heads up from next door, 43 and 44. Robert Hamrick, 223, 247. And his doubles partner, Pat Gaddy, 208, 198. So making a run here in regular doubles. Keep an eye on them. Some other good scores across the house, but not a small number they're chasing.
Well, they're at plus 76 right now, so they still need to, that's about plus 40. If my math is decent. Plus 40 to tie. Plus 40 and a half to take the lead.
Well, you can't win it if you're not in it, right? That's what they say. And we saw a whole lot of teams challenge the lead in 2013 and come up short in Game 3. Some decent scores down on 49 and 50 as well. And if you do have the X Bowling app on your mobile device, it's been updated. So they're still working on the web version, but the mobile version is pretty solid. Just go on there and select the Open Championships, and you can follow along with other bowlers on this squad. Some neat features on there, some changes from last year. Hopefully they'll have the web interface working just as well here soon. Spare conversion there for Alex Diaz, the baby split.
Looks like he's going to try something else for the fill ball here.
How many times have you stepped up on the approach thinking about what you were going to do on the fill ball, only to open in the 10th? I often think too far ahead. That's why Emil calls me 10th frame.
See, whenever I think about making a change in the 10th, I always get the first strike, and then I have to figure out whether I want to go for the double or if I make the ball change, and then I usually go for the double, and then I mess up. See a question in the chat room about what are the requirements to join a tournament like this, and we already had someone answer it. One Rev Wonder, just have to join the USBC and you can compete in a tournament like this. That is correct. And yes, you can if you're not a current USBC member this season. When you arrive to the tournament, I actually have 2 members on my team bowling later this month who currently are not certified yet for this year. They're going to buy their cards out here. You can do that, pay the $21, and just like that, you're good to go.
Game 2 in the books. Game Game 3 about to get underway. David Anthony first up. Great shot there, 247 to 172. So looking to bounce back here in Game 3. Now that we've carefully avoided the awkward conversation they're trying to lure us into, let's move on to Game 3 and chase some numbers here. 13-16, still the number at the top of the double standings, and a couple of possibilities in the neighborhood. We've got our eyes on lanes 43 and 44.
On our feature pair, Ron Hostler and Dan Streeter, 8:27 at the turn. Streeter kicks off game number 3 with a strike.
Again, folks, this is Game 3 of doubles. Here, our first official live stream broadcast from the 2014 USBC Open Championships. Behind lanes 39 and 40. This 78-lane National Bowling Stadium. We're going on the 40-foot doubles and singles lane condition. This year, we're using 64 lanes here at the MBS for the main event. And the last 10 lanes are home to the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships presented by USBC, and that is your opportunity to get a look at this doubles and singles lane condition. Just go over there, totally separate event, different divisions, average base, singles, doubles, mixed doubles, you name it. And your chance to bowl 3 games and get a feel for the condition and possibly take home quite a bit of prize money. Just ask Brian Himmler.
Winning 3 titles over there also helps him bet, but
and even better when a good squad over there translates out here to the Open Championships, doubles and singles, and you find success in both areas.
Certainly so. There's always 2 shifts followed by a break. So if you want to experience the fresh, go to one of the earlier shifts, and if you'd rather see what it's like closer to singles time, go out there after 3 games and see what the transition looks like. See, one of the great ways I heard a few people explain it, the same thing for downstairs, is you may not find what you need to do by bowling these singles events, but you can find out what you can't do or what you shouldn't do, and that eliminates problems down the road, such as if you know a ball isn't going to work on the fresh and you tried it over there, then that saves you 1 less ball to go through.
Well, a perfect example are our doubles leaders, 13-16, and that came with help from the Bowlers Journal Championships. The opportunity to go over there and have an idea, what ball might work, just to get close. And in talking with them after they took the doubles lead that morning, it was actually Darius Wilsey of Las Vegas, the left-hander, who bowled at the BJ, and was able to make some surface changes to his ball before heading over to the OC doubles and singles, and obviously that paid off. So definitely stop by over there. Participation up 300%. Last year being under the same roof for the first time. And of course, featuring that doubles and singles pattern. Good practice opportunity. Aaron, our new friend Marcel from Holland, is curious about the Open Championships, and we have bowlers from all 50 states and several foreign countries. We have groups that come over from Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, you name it. Again, just become a USBC member and put your team together and come on over. We're glad to have you. Registration already open for the 2015 Open Championships. We're headed to El Paso, Texas for the first time. Have not been there before. We do have some help from El Paso this year. Our little buddy Amigo Man is in the building. He is the mascot for El Paso. Here to help us bridge the gap, so to speak, between our home away from home, Reno, Nevada, and our first time visit to El Paso. And in the first 4 hours of registration, we are closing in on 1,000 teams yesterday already. So a lot of folks excited about that. New premium tiered pricing and a new squad schedule. No bad times in 2015. So Marcel, come on out. First squad of the day, 9 a.m. Last squad of the day, 8:30. So you don't have to wake up early, and you can get out and enjoy El Paso into the evening. You don't have to worry about bowling until 2 a.m. And all of these changes, just like the 6 on a pair here for doubles and singles compared to 4 in the past. Fresh oil for every squad. All based on bowler feedback and surveys. And, you know, we're glad to listen and give it a try. And if it works, great. If it needs to be tweaked, so be it. But everything you see, it's all thanks to feedback from our dedicated bowlers.
Nice break there for Alex Diaz, crossing over. Start off with a 3-bagger here. Our doubles tandem on 43 and 4 are Robert Hamrick and Pat Gady, struggling a little bit here. Need to get to 441 to take the lead. Gonna need to start put some strikes up on the board if they want to reach that number. They are out of Minnesota.
Couple gentlemen standing behind you from Team Internet. That is Christian Aki, the son of 2007 regular singles champ Chip Aki. Chip now part of the Open Championships family here, working hard for us to make this event as great as it is, and they're getting ready to bowl this weekend. And another gentleman nearby is getting ready to bowl as well, Aaron Smith. The countdown. You'll be taking the lanes here shortly. What
15 days.
15 days. So what have you learned so far, and what opportunities have you taken advantage of in these first couple of weeks here?
Well, Matt, so far it's been, I haven't watched as much bowling as I would have liked so far. I really haven't got to see any of the team squads on the fresh. I've got a chance to see it more along games 2 and 3, so that's something I'll have to work a little bit better on, and as well as to see if you'll give me a day off so I can go check out the showcase lanes maybe. But I have bowled the Bowler's Journal. We actually bowled doubles together. I'm not gonna lie, folks, I held Matt up, but we still did not reach the instant cash number. But just yeah, just kind of. I mean, most like every year, this is a great opportunity for me to really get a first-hand look, and of course that's why a lot of I know most of these folks are tuning in to hear us, so I know they're in here to kind of see how the pattern's playing and get an idea, at least kind of like what I talked about, is figure out what won't work for sure, and then I can get closer to the things that might work. Granted, our group isn't exactly the most well-known. We've had one guy in our group had a top 50 performance in singles back in 2011, and one of the guys I recruited actually was had the highest regular doubles score in tournament history back in 1989. Of course, 1989 was the year of the scoring explosion, so he ended up placing 5th overall. That's as close to his superstars as we get.
Well, Aaron, I would say if there was, there couldn't be two better poster boys for the get him next year idea here at the Open Championships. Certainly the chance to come out and start fresh, new mindset. Once you hit rock bottom, I think we did.
Fact.
I hope we did. I guess is better to say now, but.
I would think it can't get worse, but
I'm going to try something a little bit different this year. Instead of bowling first week of May, got a new group, going to help them or fill in for them. And we all know it was a package deal. My doubles partner Ken Wagner will be on their one team, and they had another spot, so I'm along for the ride. That's what I do. The coattails Ken Nazaro, just like in the live stream booth. But we bowl June 20th and 21st, I believe, are the dates. And in that group, defending singles champ Zeke Bate. We saw him on the live stream last year. He came back the next night. The youngster taking home the singles title. So we'll be live streaming his doubles and singles. And then Kent and I will take to the lanes later that night for doubles and singles of our own. So it should be an action-packed weekend. I know a lot of great bowlers headed into town that week as well. The USBC Queens, not far from there. It'll be the last week of June and the first couple days of July. And Darren has just come down from center desk to say we have the front 7 on lane 5. So we'll keep an eye on that. Almost a full house here for this 11 a.m. doubles and singles squad. So all kinds of good things going on. And of course, when you get to front 7 here at the NBS, the strikes turn red, and everybody knows.
Well, looks like bowler 3 on lane 5, yep. Right now we're still behind 39 and 40 here at the NBS. You guys are wrapping up doubles. Found some struggles early on here. We'll see if Alex Diaz can keep his string of strikes going. Looking for number 5.
Well, whatever ball change he made there, or whatever he learned on this fill ball in game 2, appears to have worked. After 146-200, made a move there for the fill, and now working on a 4-bagger.
Runs a bit high, leaving the 369. Nice shot by Mike Dre. Shot perfect game back in the 1996 team event here at the Open Championships. Beautiful Salt Lake City. See a question in the chat room about live streams for June 25th and 6th. There will be plenty of them, except they'll be across the way at the Reno Sparks Convention Center for the Women's Championships. As Matt just mentioned, the Queens will be in town starting June 27th. So you will see many of the top ladies teams out in Reno a few days early to not only compete in the Women's Championships, but also use that as a way to get loose for the Queens, but to chance to come down to the stadium as well, refamiliarize themselves with this great facility. But if you want to see the live stream schedule for both the Open and the Women's Championships, you can go to bowl.com/openchamp. Click on the information tab, and from there you can go down and find the 2014 live stream schedule.
Just put that there yesterday, I believe, so it's easy to find.
It's good timing.
A lot of great information on bowl.com, bowl.com/openchamp. News, notes, pictures, leaderboards. Find us on Facebook, Sportive Bowling USBC, Matt Canizaro, USBC, and of course Aaron Smith and I new to Twitter. Aaron is addicted to Twitter. That's at USBC Matt, at USBC Aaron, so make sure to follow us for all the tasty tidbits from behind the scenes here in Reno. Things not going well here for this group. A lot of holes on the scoreboard here in game 3 of doubles. Ron Hosler, 5-4. In his last frame, comes back with a great shot there. Had a good start here in game 3, but struggled in the middle. David David Anthony, great start to the day. Doesn't appear to be having a good time since. It's a roller coaster. Alex Diaz, 146 start. He started game 3 with 4 consecutive strikes. It's a very challenging experience here sometimes at the Open Championships. Not just physically, but it's an emotional toll.
Very true, and especially now since we made the change to 2 different oil patterns, fresh for every squad. The ability to master 2 conditions over 9 games makes those all events titles even more impressive. 22-28, some people may look at that score from last year and say, well, in past years it's been higher, you know, 22-89 the year before, a few 2300s, but that was certainly a unbelievable number based off the conditions last year, and we'll see what it takes this year. As we talked about very early on in the broadcast, some people thinking that the scores were going to be at a record pace again. And a team event last year was saw a record number of 3,400s. I believe we had 20 of them. Highest team score ever. 3rd highest team game. But we'll see how it all plays out this year, and hopefully you get to see some of that if it does work out that way right here on Bull TV.
Well, Aaron, our folks on 43 and 44, Hamrick and Gaddy, struggling here in game 3. So Hamrick 223, 247, can only punch for 179 with only the 10th frame left. Gaddy 208, 198. Still has 215 out there, but that's not going to be enough. They're going to be short. So at least we're right there right now. The doubles lead is safe. Of course, we're lane 5 to 62 here on this squad, so hard to know what kind of surprises are lurking at the other end of the house. And we did not have a 300 game down on lane 5. No hooping and hollering. Aaron, I'm also interested to hear, as we get into things and as things develop a little bit and teams watch the broadcast and get some ideas on what the strategies are going to be for doubles and singles. We know since 2006, I guess I've learned a lot about team strategy and playing together, throwing surface on the outside part of the lane to try to open that up, create a little misroom to the outside. Of course, it all depends on what the conditions are and what that year dictates. The new oil last year, Kegel Ice, using that again here in 2014. Very durable, holds up nicely, less transition, slower transition. I think a lot of teams got surprised by that because they're used to making moves at a certain time just based on the group of guys they bowl with and how they break the lanes down. They try to anticipate what the moves are going to be, and traditionally they could do that. They could know that in a certain frame they're going to have to start making a move, but with the ice that doesn't happen as quickly. So those teams were maybe making that move and realizing that it wasn't the right time, and there could be panic. So what do? Do you stay there and fight it, or do you jump back to where you were and wait it out? And it was new to everybody at that point. Nobody had seen it heading into the 2013 event, so I would think that that's probably going to change some of the strategies a little bit here in 2014. And another thing is that when you see a 43-foot team pattern, immediately people think super long, ball's never going to hook, I need to hit it with the Aberlon, and they're going to go out there and maybe if they're not sure, they don't know how to read the graph or understand the volume, they're going to just get all over that ball with the sandpaper, burn up the front part of the lane, and really handcuff themselves. So that might be something that keeps some of the team scores down as well.
Well, Matt, I think you made a great point there, and that was the same exact point that Lane 81 coach and the VIP coach as well this year for folks who go for the individual session. Mike Jazz now said the same exact thing when he heard it was going to be 43 feet this year. He said no one's going to get the ball to hook. Well, obviously people will get the ball to hook, but that was the idea, that people were going to struggle, but due to the lower volume, folks are seeing their balls move. And one of the things you were talking about as far as, you know, teams working together, I think teams through these live streams, through you know, just bowlers becoming better informed about such things, that the team concept and team play is much more prevalent than even 4 or 5 years ago. I think the way the equipment has progressed over the years and all that fun stuff, it's just, even talking to our team leaders from 2 days ago, currently in second still, out of Lima, Ohio, Palpac Industries Incorporated, and talking to them after they posted 3179. One of the team members said it was just a matter of time, and finally everyone bought into playing together. And I think a lot of people are seeing that, and, you know, just even if playing together means a check versus not making a check, that's a pretty significant deal over the long term. So I think the team concept of playing together, communication, it's always been around, but I think it's becoming a bigger part of the landscape here at the Open, and certainly at other events all across the country.
Well, and then now with the way things are set up for doubles and singles, a very similar strategy. You got your 6 guys, and you want to put your styles together in a way that they're going to complement each other, as we have seen in the team event. But certainly, as we learn more, I'm curious to hear what's going to work here in 2014, what some of the teams are going to do, because you want to come up with the plan, test it where you can at the showcase lanes downstairs at the Bowlers Journal Championships, but you have to commit to it. And that's the big thing, is not abandoning it too early, but also knowing when to do so. And, you know, we've seen a lot of things work, and we talked about, you know, all the guys playing outside with surface to create a little bit of room. In 2012, one of the strategies was to throw plastic down the middle to try to carry down some of that oil to create a little bit of hold. I think on the new oil, there's certainly hold built in, but again, so many different things come into play. The rule of 31 that we hear so much about, you take the length of the pattern, subtract 31, that's about where you want your break point to be, and it's all calculations from that point and trying to guess. It's a guessing game, but you know, with the ability to test all of those things here, it might cost you a few bucks to bowl those games downstairs or at the Bowlers Journal, but it could pay off huge down the road.
And to one Rev Wonder, you by all means can use that, no copyright infringement. I also give speeches and tours on the weekends.
Speaking of tours, as we wrap up Game 3 here, we'll lead in to talk a little bit about our tour yesterday of the Aces Ballpark. So we'll have all that for you and more coming up in singles. We're not going anywhere. The scoreboards are going to change, and the mindset potentially as well, but we'll have all kinds of cool details. We're here all the way. 3 more games.
Everybody around, I like it.
That's right. I mean, we get to spend every day and every night here in Reno, and we both enjoy it quite a bit. Haven't filled up the gas tank in about 2 weeks. A little bit smaller scale than we're used to back home in Texas. Great weather, great views, great scenery, and of course some of our regular establishments. And we'll share all those, well, some of those behind the scenes details through our Facebooks and Twitters, you know, in our blogs along the way. But certainly we want everybody to come out and have a good experience and enjoy the things that Reno has to offer outside of potentially the gaming establishments nearby. Of course, those are fun too, but there's so much more to it, and we'll talk about that as we wind down the first official broadcast from the 2014 USBC Open Championships.
There's a great shot in the ninth by Alex Diaz.
Jeff Jensen, our favorite lane guy, stopping by to say hello. He is getting ready to get the machines going for the 3 o'clock team squad. The Kegel Flex machine. One of a kind. We've had some videos already posted on Facebook. I think Jeff can actually call one of the machines from home and say, hey, and it gets up, burns a couple lanes in the lane maintenance area, walks across the house, does everything. Those guys are just there to keep an eye on things. The machines are the best of the best. And Kegel, of course, the lane maintenance provider for USBC Championship events. Top of the line, if you haven't checked it out. The features are amazing, and it does it all by itself.
See a question in the chat room from Andrew Morton. Matt and I kind of talked about it earlier this year, or earlier in this broadcast. We only have the 2 mics set up this year. We don't have the wireless mic. I know last year we had Matt McNeil on quite a bit. Eric Pearson made quite a few appearances, but if we ever do have the opportunity to bring someone in who can give much better analysis than we can offer, one of us will gladly step out from time to time. And
well, certainly any chance people have to not listen to us for a little while, we will give that to them. Jazz very busy with his normal lesson load over at lane 81, and of course also taking on the VIPs this year. So any VIPs interested, part of that program is the chance to have a 1 hour or 90-minute session now with Jazz now on lane 81, or a 1 hour team practice session, your choice. But he's certainly being kept busy. And Aaron had a lesson with him last year and took away some things that have helped along the way. And one of our good buddies, Dan Stricker, was actually just here last week and spent that time with Jazz now as a VIP and made the leaderboard. Shot 1974, had a great year. He was tuning in earlier. He bowled very early and took advantage of that and learned a lot. So anything that Jazz now can come and offer to the world in the booth, I'm glad to step away when he's not busy imparting knowledge on our participants. So we'll touch base with him, and if nothing else, get some thoughts from him on what he's seen here early in the 2014 Open Championships.
Finish up with 11:27. They'll look to bounce back after tough games 2 and 3 here at the National Bowling Stadium.
Here in game 3, Alex Diaz. He was the slow starter out of the case, but now the only one of the 6 with a shot at a 200 game here in the finale of doubles. So again, it's a lot of teamwork, communication, and a bit of a roller coaster. So a great shot there. He's throwing a whole bunch of different balls here during doubles, and Seems pretty comfortable here early in game 3 and late in game 3. Just getting ready for singles now. They're not going anywhere, staying on the same pair. Sometimes that's a great thing, and sometimes you just want to be somewhere else.
Question about how these guys did yesterday in team event, and they actually did take over the regular team lead with games of 10:54, 10:68, and 11:14. Mike Dre led the way with a 7:03 series. He was followed by David Anthony with 6:72. Matt Rush, who was on lanes 41 and 2, 6:61. Mike Diaz at 6:44, and Alex Diaz at 5:56. Once again, 32-36, your new regular team leaders. As far as we know, 13-16, still a doubles.
Double sets on this pair, 11:27 for Anthony and Dre, 11:89 for Hosler and Streeter, and 11:47 for Diaz and Diaz. And they're to get ready for singles now. They're communicating a little bit, talking things through on how to change things up a little bit heading into singles. The last game of doubles, not too good for 5 of the 6, but we're underway. Doubles is a distant memory. Now it's a brand new ball game here. Once again, Matt Cannizzaro and Aaron Smith live at the National Bowling Stadium. We tuned in to see PBA50 Tour champion Mike Diaz. Helped his group into the team lead yesterday. Already on the live stream schedule, so that only made it better. Now we're about to watch singles get underway. Something we haven't talked about a lot this year is team all events. The bar hasn't been set too high just yet. We usually wait a while before really talking about that, but that of course is all 5 all event scores added together. And in recent years, a good number, 9,800, closer to 10,000, to more than 10,000 here last year, 10,247. So these guys had a good head start towards a decent number after yesterday, and just over 9,000 has been the top of the standings, and 9,000 is a par score. That's every guy averaging 200.
Currently at 2 teams are plus so far this year. Plus 43 leading by Palpak Industries Incorporated out of Lima, Ohio. They're currently second in team as well. See a question about Matt Rush. 593 in doubles. He was actually high out of the members of Coach's Corner 1. And as far as the special viewing section that Lucas was talking about, Lucas is talking on Twitter again, who would have thought? Actually behind, or closer to the high side of the National Bowling Stadium, right around, I want to say between maybe 49 to 54, Greg Moore and his brilliant team actually built out some of the vendor areas. So there's 2 walls, there's 2 separate vendor areas, and in the middle there's a, I wouldn't call it a lounge area because you can't purchase drinks there, but you can bring drinks there. It's got a place to set drinks, kind of watch bowling. It's got massage chairs. It's lit up real nicely. It's got nice hardwood floors. It's a nice little change. That's one of many things different in 2014 for those who are planning to make the trip down the road. You can kind of see it on the live stream here. We got new masking units. That's the first time since the stadium opened in '95 that we've had a new or a different backdrop. So those are certainly nice. Talking to Bob Thomas, who's the manager here. They kind of wanted to highlight Reno, but show off the whole country. So they had the United States in the background. It's probably a little tough to see in the background, but that greenish blue color is just all 50 states, so that's pretty cool. And then, of course, the big change this year, the squad room has been completely remodeled. Featured after the showcase lanes. It's got a different flow. Definitely not as warm back there anymore. So that'll be a nice thing. A little bit more room. Brackets got moved around. We have a booth for El Paso, so you can learn a little bit more about what's going on in 2015 and things to do.
All part of a $15 million renovation that's been ongoing, and it will continue in future years. It started off downstairs here at the NBS on the ground floor, the addition of the International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame satellite. Last year we added the track showcase lanes, 10 lanes downstairs used for, of course, practice sessions. This year the Columbia 340 frame game and corporate events while we're not here. And the squad room, the latest phase. After we leave, before the Women's Championships picks up here in 2015, brand new lanes across the house. A complete redo. Last time they were done was 2006. So we'll see 78 new lanes here on the competition level at the National Bowling Stadium. And much more to come in the future as far as the concourse here and the snack bar area, you name it. $15 million can go a long way. And you know, Aaron alluded to it earlier, and we talked a little bit about the Reno Aces ballpark, but no matter how many times you've been to Reno, it's not the same Reno. It's not the same stadium, not the same place. Always changing. Getting a new look. Downtown always changing. Of course, outside of this fine facility, the Taj Mahal of 10 pins. So much to see and do, and we got the opportunity to take a tour yesterday of the Aces ballpark, home of the Reno Aces, the minor league baseball team here. And the weather has been pretty fantastic, Aaron, I would say. You know, some years it's kind of a crapshoot, but some very nice days. We're in the 70s even this weekend. Baseball season just a couple weeks away. April 3rd is the opener, and ironically against the El Paso Chihuahuas. That's kind of funny to say, but the brand new minor league baseball team in El Paso, so they'll have a stadium also next year when you come down for the 2015 Open Championships. So one more thing to do here in Reno. A lot of folks didn't even know the stadium existed. It's behind the National Bowling Stadium, but depending on where you're walking and where you're looking, you could miss the opportunity to see some great professional baseball while you're in town. So check that out. We'll be over there quite a few times. Amigo Man will join us over there. We had a great meeting, a great opportunity to meet with those folks, and we're going to have them come over here, show off our stadium now, so they can learn a little bit more about the Open Championships and what the bowlers are all about.
It was certainly a fun meeting, and as I mentioned to you afterwards, and dealing with Brett McGinnis over there, a real great guy who helped us out in that tour. But just even as often as I've been to Aces Ballpark over the year, and always find some pretty great seats there. Just the ability to, when they open the door, to say, all right, you can walk on the field, even if it was 5 feet away from where I had been before, was a pretty neat experience. And we'll be looking to do some cool stuff, hopefully get everyone involved. And once again, if you haven't had a chance to check out an Aces game since they opened up in 2009, certainly is a good time, good way to, if you're bowling an early squad, taking a night game, if you're bowling a night squad, taking a day game if they're in town. Certainly a lot of opportunities. Once again, April 3rd is that kickoff date.
And also right next door, the Reno Event Center. Aaron spent some time over there last weekend, had a great concert. Tool was in town. So Aaron was rocking out there after the team event. And when there's not a concert going on, the Reno Bighorns basketball. So if you're a basketball fan, the minor leagues of basketball putting on a show. We've had them come over and actually bowl in the Open Championships before, enjoying our sport while we head over there. And also great ticket deals for those events, the Bighorns, the Aces. Certainly a lot happening here in Reno. So check the calendar before you come out. Check the schedule and try to make some plans. Maybe come early to check out some of those events. Also some great shows at our host hotels and casinos here. We saw the Johnny Cash folks came out for opening day. The Ring of Fire, the life and times of Johnny Cash. Some great entertainment. Keeps you out of trouble. Keeps Aaron Smith off the streets.
You're making it sound like I caused trouble, man.
I thought that was your middle name, Aaron T. Smith. Sweet smell of National Bowling Stadium garlic fries in the near distance here.
It's intoxicating. And it reminds me that my granola bar broke apart in my hand today. Which was equally disappointing.
Mr. Smith, first game of singles. Well underway. Tough break there for Dre with the 9-pin. He's been in the pocket. Both of these guys have been in the pocket here early in singles. Not too much to show for it. Alex Diaz with 3 in a row again. He's the only one with at least a double here through 3 frames. Dre is clean, Strader clean. Anthony, his 3rd consecutive spare there. Hosler struggling, 5 spare, 8 spare, 5-3. So we'll see if he can get lined up. Maybe him and Diaz can have a little talk about what's happening there on the left side. Both of those guys very accomplished. Hosler with a 300 at the Open Championships. Diaz, of course, a PBA50 champion. So these guys know what they're doing. They know when to make a move. And with 6 on a pair for doubles and singles, the allotted time 3 hours and 20 minutes. And for the team event, 3 hours from the time you leave the squad room. So certainly make the most of your time. 6 minutes of practice before doubles and singles. Your chance to get loose, get lined up. Mike Diaz getting lined up. His first strike in singles comes in the 4th frame.
going, and one lane to our right, you'll see him maybe coming to the picture, but you'll see his ball going down lane on 41. Gene Olson looking for 6 in a row to start off singles. There he is, kind of. Not the result Gene was looking for. 3, 4, 6, 7.
We appreciate everybody stopping by. We're still 400 strong here. First official broadcast of the year for the 2014 USBC Open Championships. Matt Canizaro, Aaron Smith. We've been busy guys so far this year. Just social media is the thing to do. Somebody should have told us sooner. Lucas Wiseman hogging all the Twitter followers to himself. But we are now on the bandwagon. Got a couple radio shows each week as well on Wednesday mornings for us. The Let's Go Bowling Show out of the Tampa St. Pete area in Florida, and Sunday afternoon, the Bowler Show with Dave Waswell, the Waz, and the Sports Schmucks. Always get to talk to those guys and say schmucks on the radio or on the broadcast. But we're out there. Facebook, Twitter, bowl.com, you name it, you know where to find us.
In the new segment, Canizaro's Corner. In last week, got to hear about the interjection heard around the world.
Aaron, I think we haven't been disappointed on any of our broadcasts. Something exciting always seems to happen, or we just get some really good ideas and a good look at some great players. Some of these guys maybe don't get their due out there in the PBA50 tour or over the years, not the high-profile guys. But here's a chance to see some different styles. And the one thing we've definitely learned so far today is the importance of practicing those spares, especially on this challenging sport bowling lane condition. But whether you're left-handed, right-handed, young or old, or straight player, or you like to hook the ball, you're going to learn something today.
So Matt, even the lefties on the pair, something not generally seen. They're moving a little bit more right than what I recall seeing in past broadcasts. So I know wheeling the lane is your A game.
Yeah.
As it is mine as well. So.
Aaron, some folks in the chat room are curious about things going on in the area. Well, certainly visit RenoTahoe.com, and it'll get you all the great things happening nearby. Reno, just a short drive away. Spent some time there last year, and I know one of our associates, Bob Udseth, spent a few days there last week to take a break from the action at the Bowlers Journal Championships. Had a great time. So much to do and see nearby. Take advantage. Right now, the number these folks are chasing, 783. That included the first and only 300 of the year. And we do have video of that on the Open Championships page on bowl.com, bowl.com/openchamp. Chicago's finest. Terrence Levins. You can hear his secrets to success and watch the final shots of his 300 game.
He was pretty far left by the end there. As we talked about a little bit earlier today, one hit away from 790 in the 10th and a missed spare to kick off game 3. He could have been in the 8-0s. Making that lead look, or making that number just a little bit tougher for everybody. But as we saw last year, 795 was enough, surprised quite a few people. The 39-foot sport bowling condition for doubles and singles in 2013 proved to be a challenge across the board. We'll have to wait and see how 2014 pans out, but seeing that we're only 2 weeks into this 136-day tournament, I'm excited about the possibilities. Everybody loves Boo in the chat room. Bob Utset, they passed Eagle winner. He won doubles at this very building, in this very building, I should say.
I believe it was on lanes 61 and 2 or 63 and 64.
I want to say it was 63 and 4 because when I told him I caught 61 and 2 last year, he made a face that said it wasn't good. I like to blame that on why my score was so bad, but that wasn't the case. Bob Utset and Tyler Strickland I saw earlier working very hard at the Bowlers Journal on the high end of the National Bowling Stadium, the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships, presented by USBC. There's the full name. Once again, the place to be if you want to get a first-hand look at the doubles and singles pattern. Of course, in game number 1 of singles right now. And to get a look at the team pattern while you're here to get an idea of what the game plan needs to be. Be sure to visit the track showcase lanes on the first floor. Schedule your practice time. They're going to be tough to come by in a few months, so be sure to schedule early. Of course, also down in the track showcase lanes this year is the Columbia 340 frame game. Making its home in the same venue as the Open Championships for the very first time.
One of the interesting things about the lane conditions, and we talk a lot about them, and of course that's the invisible defense that you're playing against here in our sport. But what you and I were able to make look absolutely impossible last year, some people made it look like the easiest lane condition ever, and that's true of any condition. It's going to be easy for some people, and it's going to be challenging for others. And that's the balance of it all, and you only get one shot. And we do have a string of strikes down on 59 and 60. Good way to start singles. Looks like Brandon Freeman. With the front seven, we'll keep an eye on him as that game progresses. I'll be honest too, in practice, or even downstairs on the showcase lanes, I feel like a US Open champion striking all day. Something about the lights coming on, coming down center aisle. Put the butterflies in your stomach and make you squeeze the ball a little bit more, and overcoming that is certainly one of the keys to success here at the Open Championships, fighting those nerves.
That very topic came up yesterday in our meeting with the Reno Aces. Just attempting to explain to them what it's like for a bowler to come through and march down center aisle for the very first time, and certainly a memorable experience, especially if you haven't experienced this venue before or anything like this. Obviously the National Bowling Stadium is one of a kind, and the high ceilings certainly make it a little bit intimidating for those who may have not competed on this kind of stage before, but at the same time it's certainly something to embrace. And if you can walk away from this event score you're happy with and some cash money coming down the road, all the incentive to keep it going.
Now imagine, this is something that we've been doing since 1901. This is the 111th USBC Open Championships, and back in year one they built the lanes especially for this event. Never been held in a traditional bowling center, and of course it was that design and the high ceilings and the bright lights that helped the National Bowling Stadium come to be. This, of course, a permanent facility. And another one is on its way. South Point in Las Vegas will become home to many USBC events in the future. A $30 million project happening. A 60-lane bowling arena going up there. The Women's Championships will head that way in 2016. The Open Championships a year later in 2017. And that'll be part of the rotation moving forward. So another great bowling city and a great host. Las Vegas and South Point. 40 other events headed that way. Conventions, youth events, collegiate events, just a little bit of everything. Going to be happening all over Las Vegas also. But don't forget our other cities. 2018, the Open Championships heads to Syracuse. Haven't been there since 1999. The Women's Championships will go to Baton Rouge in 2017. And Wichita to celebrate the 100th anniversary in 2019. And Mobile, Alabama in 2021. So both events on the move, but also anchored at our homes away from home now, Reno and Las Vegas. So looking forward to an exciting future.
The challenge has been set by the one and only Chris Hester, Mr. Cannizzaro.
See, that's an interesting challenge because Mr. Hester essentially holds my fate in his hands because he is the guy who processes my bowling ball orders from Ebonite. So he can either make sure that that equipment doesn't show up or that I end up with a case of 12-pound Maxims. So perhaps I'll entertain that offer once I know that the stuff is safely in the building. But either way, the opportunity to hang out with Chris Hester, one of my favorite left-handers, bring it. We'll go hang out. We'll party anyway, regardless of the scores on the scoreboard. But the real guy that I want to beat, sitting right next to me, Aaron Smith. I've had a good run. He didn't make it very hard last year, and we both pulled absolutely terrible. He is dominating so far here in our league season in Reno, 2-0. I've just lost that fire. I need Chris Hester to hook me up. Send me something that's going to strike against Aaron Smith. Mike Diaz unable to strike as well. He's a 7-pin on lane 40.
Charles Sardina, one pair to our right, 256 to start off singles. We'll keep an eye on him as they progress. They're just starting game number 2 right now. We're just getting ready for our 10th frame here.
So Aaron, we're looking at a few big games, and we talked about our defending singles champ Zeke Bate, and a little bit about how that all unfolded last year, with him just sneaking past John Zerbinski. Zerbinski had 789, and Zeke Bate stepped up into 10th with a shot at a pretty solid number, and left the 3-6-10. And missed all 3. And at the time, didn't even think he took the lead. Had the numbers reversed. Ended up with 795 after the whiff. And took home the singles title. But that could have been a career maker. The spare that got away. But you've had a chance to talk to him since. You talked to him as it happened. When there were still a few weeks left in the event. And he wasn't sure that number was going to hold on. But you've talked to him since. You know, and about that moment, I would think, and now the whole different mindset after his final, the title's official. But what are his feelings on that? And just, you know, obviously we talked a lot about the importance of spares at this event, and it could really come down to, you know, one single pin or one spare.
Well, it certainly was one of the most memorable occurrences in my championships career, between working at the Open last year and the women's as well since '09. And as I'm sure Chris Hester was part of that group last year, and Chris might have been the one to tell him he had actually gotten to the lead. I know when I talked to Zeke right after, he had switched the 789 for 798. When he looked up at the scoreboard and saw 795, he thought, oh no, I can't believe this happened. As it turned out, luckily for him, not so lucky for John Zerbinski, that it was 789. And of course, they bowled, I believe it was June 16th was their doubles and singles date last year. How I remember that, I have no idea. But obviously it held on, and we talked to Zeke for our yearbook this year. And one of the things Zeke told me was after he left, obviously he was happy with the score, kind of bummed that he left some pins out there, but he never thought he was going to hold on after letting that 10th frame slip away. And then he actually got the call. He was actually bowling in another tournament already. He was actually getting ready for match play when tournament manager Dwayne Hagan gave him the good news that 795 was enough. And one of the things I really admire about Zeke, although he's a young guy, just 21 years of age, he kind of decided that bowling is what he wants to do, and he's not letting anyone get in his way. And he basically said, you know, he finished up that tournament after finding out, I believe it was in Pennsylvania, started driving back home to Ohio, and, you know, I finally kind of let let the feeling sink in that, hey, I just won an eagle. And he said he enjoyed it for the rest of the ride home, and then he went straight to the bowling center afterwards to start practicing and getting ready for the next tournament, and of course the Open Championships coming up, and you'll get to see all that preparation when you on the crossing team with them on June 20th.
Well, and I think once you've been there, the mindset definitely has to change because you know you can get there. I mean, there's already so many nerves coming down center aisle and just marching out, and then to start with a big game. And the reason I started that rant was our gentleman to our right, Charles, with the 256. I mean, that's only has to amplify the feelings and the nerves, knowing, you know, that you've got one game under your belt already, 2 more big games, and it could be a life-changing experience. I say I've been there. I've started singles with 260 before, followed it up with 230 and felt pretty good, and felt like I had a decent shot at a good number. Just no matter what, you know, and as Mr. Blevins told us about, just getting close to 800, he knew that it could be enough to win. It could be enough for a nice check. You just never know. Like you said, Zeke walked out of here thinking there's no way 795 was going to hold up, especially looking at the history of the event and some of the monster scores we've seen. But, you know, sometimes, you know, we saw 791 win it in 2005, 800 on the nose in 2012. Our buddy Nick Hoagland won it with 798. So you just never know. Of course, you want to get every pin you can, but the relief of knowing that it held on, certainly, I can't imagine what those weeks were like.
Zeke only had about 3, maybe 4 weeks till the end of the 2013 event. Our team winners, Lodge Lanes 2, they shoot up in early April last year. Had to wait it out all the way till July 7th. And you mentioned something about leaving pins out there. I remember John Gaines that very night saying it's, you know, obviously excited about the record score, and as he always says, you know, if you get your picture taken, it's a good day at the Open Championships. But even then, what ended up being the highest score in team history, you know, they talked about letting some pins get away. And whether you win or whether you're not having it so well, that's always the case.
Well, I got to talk to those guys more in the months after they bowled than I have my entire life, and I've known some of them for a long, long time. But John hit it right on. After that, certainly the record was nice, but it wouldn't have meant anything if their score didn't hold on. So they were careful not to get too excited until they got the official phone call in July, and then it was party time, and I had the honor of joining those guys at the Florida State annual Hall of Fame dinner and giving out their Eagles to Janowitz and Gaines. Vernon Peterson could not be present. Scott Newell was there. And of course, some of our Team All Events winners, Jeffrey Mersch and Matthew Tuckfield, were there as well. So kind of 2 ends of the spectrum. The 2 youngsters spent some time bowling in college, Junior Team USA, Tuckfield and Mersch. And then, of course, Gaines, now a 2014 Hall of Famer, will be inducted officially in late April. John Janowitz, of course, with the career, the reputation speaks for itself. Vernon Peterson, Scott Newell, PBA champion. So you got your experience and you got your youngsters, and that's what this event's all about, that anybody can get it done on any day. I know when we first walked in and we saw the banners in the rafters, and sometimes it doesn't sink in until you, as the champion, walk in and see your name hanging up there for the first time. It certainly changes the whole feel of this championship event. And looking forward to seeing those guys again. They're going to wait a few extra months and come in June, but always exciting to see them see that for the first time. like our guy Brandon down on the end started with 258. So some good scores here. First game of singles. Keep an eye on all of them. That's what we do. And then, should we see a new leader today, we'll tell the world all about it. We'll put a nice story up on bull.com. We'll call their hometown media. Throw it up on the Facebook, the Twitter.
The Facebook.
Everybody will know what's going down at the Open Championships. Thanks for joining us. Still 400 strong. Matt Canizaro and Aaron Smith. We're in game 2 of singles here. We're watching PBA50 champion Mike Diaz. He's the one that brought us here. And his talented team took the lead in regular team yesterday, 32-36, first 3,200 of the year. And these guys of varying styles and ages, showing all of our viewers a whole lot. There's something for everybody to learn here on today's broadcast, the first of more than 2 dozen from this year's Open Championships. And if you missed any of today's broadcast, want to go back and perhaps watch it with the sound off or take notes, you can find that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/bulltv, and you'll find the archive. Go back and watch it from the beginning. You can also find the 2014 Open Championships kickoff show there, where you can get expert analysis on this year's 2 lane conditions, 43 feet for team and 40 feet for doubles and singles. Eric Pearson, Mike Jasnow giving their analysis. See some bowlers throw shots on the kickoff show. And of course learn all about what's happening here at the National Bowling Stadium, the Storm Bowlers Journal Championships, presented by USBC. Columbia 300, 40 frame game, the track showcase lanes, and so much more nearby. So the kickoff show, your one-stop shop for everything Reno.
These guys are getting pretty far left on the right side. Alex Diaz getting around 5th arrow there. But even the 2 lefties on the pair are migrating a little bit right. This 40-foot pattern has 26 milliliters, had 24 last year, so it's a little thicker volume. We're still seeing the bowling balls move quite a bit out here.
We still haven't seen enough traffic this year to generate any usable loaded cash numbers, but we'll have that in the next month or so as we get more and more bowlers through and start getting an idea of what it's going to take to cash in here at the Open Championships. The numbers have been pretty steady as far as the loaded cash spot over the last few years. I think if you come out in the regular division at least and shoot 580, you got to feel pretty good about that. At least taking home a little bit of the pie. 3 580s will be even better.
Compared to 3 530s?
Certainly not that. But we'll have those numbers in the venue and posted on bull.com in the coming weeks as we see some more folks come through. Again, we kicked off February 28th, and it will be here all the way until July 13th. But it won't be boring by any means, of course, besides what's happening inside the NBS. The USBC Women's Championships will be across town at the Reno Sparks Convention Center again. Last year, the first time both events have been held in the same host city in the same year. And along with that, we'll have the X-Bowling Intercollegiate Team and Singles Championships. And then coming our way later, the USBC Queens and Senior Queens here at the NBS, followed by the USBC Senior Championships. So a good variety. Bowlers of all ages and skill levels from 18 to 118, it seems like. We do appreciate all of our bowlers. And Darren came down again to say front 7 on lane 5 one more time. It looks like the same bowler.
It does. Freeman way down on 5960, starts with the front 4 after 258. Sure, we'll call it 258. 258 and a half.
Some big numbers around us. Tough break there for Alex Diaz with the 4-6. Looked like a pretty good shot. Here's Dre trying to bounce back after an open. Started this game with a double.
Caught a pocket 7-10 in the 3rd. Bounces back nicely.
Sardina next door, 256 game 1. A little bit off that pace here in game 2. It always seems to happen as far away as possible, though. 5 and 6, the first pair in use here today, and 59 and 60, the last pair in use here today. That's where the action is, and we're right in the middle, 39 and 40. So we'll see if these guys can give us something to write home about. Great shot there from David Anthony. His first strike here in game 2 of singles, started with 192.
Looked like he moved back to the right. Closer to where he was in game number 1.
Aaron, I'll take a little bit of a walk down and see what's happening down on 5 and 6 and report back. Leave it in your capable hand, and I'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Matt, thanks for the continued hard work. Now that he's out of the booth, I can talk about him. But I won't. He's still here. He still has the headsets on. He's not working at all. It's all a farce. All right, we are in frame number 4 of game 2 of singles. 5th game overall we've seen. So Mike Diaz gets all 10 to cooperate. Matt Cannizzaro on the move to 5 and 6, 59-60. Brandon Freeman still striking front 5. Once again, we appreciate everybody tuning in today. Take some time out on your Friday afternoon. It is Friday, so why not get ready for the weekend with a little live bowling from the National Bowling Stadium in Rio, Nevada. Nice break for Mike Dre there. Crossing over, makes up for that 7-10. We hope everyone likes the setup we have for the 2014 event. A little different from last year, a little bit the same though. We got the scoreboards, we got the close-up on the pins. Of course, the track logo in the background. The track is sponsoring Bowl TV at the Open Championships this year. I want to thank them for their sponsorship. And of course, we got the action on the left side of your screens. We're parked behind 39 and 40 in the VIP seating area. We're a little bit less out of the way this year. Nice shot by Streeter there. Does not get the 10 to fall. There's Mike Diaz looking for 3 in a row. That looks wide. Those of you looking to keep up with the Open Championships as often as possible, be sure to check us out on bowl.com at bowl.com/openchamp for the main tournament site. Of course, we're on Facebook. There is an official USBC Open and Women's Facebook page, so be sure to join that for all the latest and greatest. And of course, we have our personal pages. There's on Facebook, Matt Cannizzaro -USBC for all of Matt's insights. I'm not as fancy with the Facebook, but we both have Twitter now at USBC Matt and USBC Aaron. Then, of course, the main pages, the Sport of Bowling on Facebook at facebook.com/USBC, twitter.com/USBC, and of course, right now, Bowl TV, which you are currently tuned into at youtube.com/bowltv. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to see when all the latest and greatest is coming up, and of course to check out all the archives. Not only do we archive every event that you see live here, we also offer a ton of great coaching features, as well as plenty of other cool little things to check out. So after you finish up here today, be sure to stay on Bowl TV for a while if you go through all the old stuff and find some stuff that you like. There's 2 pretty good shots in a row by Streeter. It's a 4-pin and a 10-pin to show for it. Matt Cannizzaro now making the trip down to 59 and 60. Guess the gentleman with the front 7 on 5 and 6 was Bobby Reese. His string of strikes has ended. Brandon Freeman Still going. They just went red over there. After a 2:58 start, front 7. Matt Cannizzaro on the case right now. Alex and Mike Diaz up at 39-40. Great shot by Alex there. He's bounced back nicely after a rough start in doubles. The 146, I believe. He's been above 200 every game since. All 10 finally cooperate for Streeter after fighting some carry here in game 2. Started off with 214. It's the highest on the pair for singles. Down on 59-60, Braden Freeman keeping it alive. Front 8 now after a 2:58 start. Struggled a little bit in doubles. Together games of 190, 140, and another 190 before he found the right combination out there. Now he's eyeing that 783 and maybe, just maybe, our second 300 of the 2014 event. David Anthony back on his striking ways after some struggles. He's now got 5 in a row here, game number 2. Great shot by Hostler there. Looks like number 9 for Brandon Freeman. Still red strikes, still living the dream. Matt Cannizzaro still behind the scenes watching. From my view, way over here behind 39 and 40. Look like a younger guy. Right-hander. So all I can tell, Matt Cannizzaro, when he gets back, will give us a better idea of what his lineup is, what he's doing out there. Mike Trey leaves the baby split to kick off the 9th. See if David Anthony can keep his string of strikes going. There's another route for those of you watching at home. David Anthony moving back right, possibly even a little bit further right than where he was to start today. He's firing it in there, 6 in a row. Brandon Freeman is out of California. The headset's on, I cannot do much more. Shot up without having the exact details. He was right around 620 yesterday in team event. Struggled a little bit in doubles, 190s, 140s, and then back up to the 190s. Whatever he did to get where he's at now, most would be envious. folks. Way down on 59 and 60. Brandon Freeman, first shot of the 10th. I want to say it looks like he left something up there, folks. Seven count, first ball of the 10th. Matt Cannizzaro will let us know a little bit more when he returns to the booth, but it looked like he was unable to convert the spare. A lot of pins lost there. .265, I believe. Which puts him in the 530, still a fantastic place to be at. But we'll get the full recap. Matt Cannizzaro back on his way. We're in the 10th frame now here, game 2. Mike Bray putting together a lot of strikes around a few tough splits here. Anthony converts. He's 6-9-10. So he'll be in the 230s with decent count this game. It was a 4.67. The power of Cannizzaro's iPhone. So it looked like Freeman was right around 20 on that shot. I don't know if that was representative of where he had been playing at. We'll keep an eye on him for sure. Let you know if we have a new singles leader or not. .260 is the number.
It's one of those days, just a lot of nice folks in the building. Not that they're not always nice, but the group down, Brandon's group down in the California crew, very friendly. They knew who I was and what I was doing there. They did get a good giggle out of the iPhone, however, this fancy operation, and I reminded them that the rest of our cameras are tied up with the live stream, and the irony of a great score on the high end and the farthest low end, and we're in the middle. So I told him I'd be back in 8 frames. Brandon needs 260 to get to the lead, so nice to meet those guys. They said they tune in. They've watched the broadcast before, so I'm sure they'll go check this out when we're done. And David Anthony stopped by as well and wanted us to put a disclaimer on this broadcast and make sure to tell the folks this is what not to do. And it's been a rough day for Mr. Anthony, and I did have a 231 there in game 2 of singles, so got to feel pretty good about that after struggling a little bit. But more than anything, as we've talked about, with all the styles represented here on this pair of lanes, we got kind of lucky. You know, some of these right-handers are getting pretty deep here, heading into game 3 of singles. The 2 left-handers showing different parts of the lane as well. Anthony likes to play a little bit straighter. So even if it's what not to do, you're getting a pretty good look at all of the possibilities. So if you're at home, this certainly should help in your quest as you get ready for this year's Open Championships.
So Anthony's going to be high on our pair after 2 with 423. Mike Dre, 396. Dan Streeter, 391. Ron Osler, 381. Alex Diaz misses the single pin. He'll still be plus 405. For Mike Diaz after 187. Just like that, game 3 underway. It's gone so fast. It's hard to imagine we'll take down all the equipment and put it back up nearly, or more than 24 times after this.
The next one, 2 days from now.
Very true, and we haven't even, we got so caught up in what we're doing, we haven't even brought it up, but yes, 2 short days from now, March 16th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. out here in Reno. Out of Minnesota, Breakpoint Pro Shop 1 and 2 will be on the feature pair, so that'll be our first scheduled look at the team event. I know in opening we kind of gave everyone a quick preview of the team event as well as the new look here on Bowl TV, but yeah, very solid group. Last year they actually were leading with 33-58 before certain Lodge Lanes 2 came in here and used the same numbers, but went 35-38 instead. Went on to win an Eagle, but very, very solid group. A veteran group as well, similar to these guys. So certainly know their way around here at the National Bowling Stadium. Brandon Freeman opened in the first frame, followed up with a strike. So he can't miss for a while now.
He can't miss again.
Well,
till the
second shot of the 10th.
Correct.
See? I got this covered.
Look forward to talking to the Breakpoint guys on Sunday and getting some ideas and hear about what their strategy is coming in. And again, you know, whatever we can learn about equipment choices and surfaces, we are glad to share that today. Unfortunately, did not have that opportunity to talk to these guys prior to competition. But we've seen a whole lot of bowling balls go down the lane. And a lot of ball changes and a little bit of a struggle. To our left, Robert Maroon, older gentleman, making waves in the classified division, 193, 195. Going at Dutch 200 pace. Number on top there, just over 600. 616, I believe, is the number.
To be exact.
To be exact. tonight, our first 7 p.m. team event outside of opening day. So the lanes starting to fill as we get to mid-April, then May and June. We will be very busy. We'll bring all the news to you on bowl.com, Facebook, Sport of Bowling USBC, Matt Kinizar USBC, and of course on Twitter at USBC Matt, at USBC Aaron, and at USBC. So with our final game of the day now underway, if you have any questions in the chat room, now's your chance. More than likely the answer is somewhere on bowl.com, but we're glad to direct you to it. We don't have much wealth or knowledge in the booth right now, but we're glad to share what we do have.
Freeman's run at the top spot in regular singles is now over after an open of third frame, but he's going to walk home with quite a story to tell everybody, and hopefully he still finishes off this game and moves up, makes that top 10, gets his name up on the leaderboard. One of the nice things about bowling early in the tournament, as the scores fluctuate almost daily, definitely a cool chance to see your name up on the leaderboard. Certainly would like that opportunity. A group of my buddies from back home in Indiana last year cracked, bowling right around this time last year, cracked the top 10 in team event, and one of the guys made the board for all events as well, so they were posing by the big online, or not the online, but the on-site leaderboard here. Saved up a lot of pictures, got some great memories from that, so hopefully Brandon can find his way up there. See if any of these guys can put together a big game 3 here. Anthony unable to get the 10 out.
Close calls today, but otherwise uneventful. A nice start to the live streaming season, so to speak. We'll have plenty of days and plenty of excitement, I'm sure, along the way. It's certainly nice to ease into it and see everything working well. Show off our new interface thanks to Track Bowling, official Bowl TV sponsor here at the Open Championships.
These guys did put on a show yesterday, so for those of us in attendance, it was certainly a treat. A different pattern, different look for doubles and singles. Certainly can have days like that. One day be phenomenal, come back the next day and not find it, or vice versa. And
especially with 2 different lane conditions. if you don't have it on day one, I certainly gotta feel pretty good of something completely different on day two.
Or even from event to event here. As we mentioned, Alex Diaz had the struggles out of the gates. Hasn't had a game under 200 since then. So he's looking to put up a nice number. Hopefully take home a check.
Certainly, part of the challenge is finding your way. The last thing you want to do is lose your way. And Brandon Freeman, unfortunately, has lost his way a bit here in game number 3 after starting with 258, 265. So we'll have a solid number, as you mentioned, but will not be the new singles leader here in 2014. See if these guys can finish strong at least. A couple of decent numbers out there. Everybody's in what we would project to be the cash realm for singles here. And it does look like these gentlemen here on 39-40 are taking full advantage of their allotted time. It's going to be awfully quiet in here pretty soon as everybody around us gets done bowling. Perhaps a few more strikes like that, and we'll catch back up. But great shot there from Diaz. He's been by far the most consistent since a rough start in doubles.
Certainly so. These guys have definitely been some ups and downs today. No doubles yet for Brandon Freeman so far this game. The third game blues taking full effect. Perhaps he was starstruck after seeing Matt Cannizzaro behind his pair.
I know the game 3 blues we talked about in 2013 happened a lot in doubles. I'm going to say that potentially we're looking at the game 3 nerves. Because anytime, and again, how you handle that pressure certainly is a defining opportunity here at the Open Championships. 258, 265. You have to be doing the math in your head. And we know that Terrence Blevins, 257, 300, he knew what he needed. He knew what was going on. And just let it get away from him there. He didn't shoot a whole lot of spares earlier in the set, of course. And with the 610 in the first frame of game 3, he settled down, finished with 226. Just didn't carry after that. But 783, that's a big number, but there's so much more involved as it comes down to it.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, 258, 265, he was 620 and change, or 620, excuse me, 520 and change, which, you know, I think 99.95% of people here would be ecstatic to have that return, but to look at it, to have your name on a banner, to have that eagle by your name, just even to take the lead in this instance, you're still needing 250, 260 is certainly no guarantee, even after that kind of start. So well, it's tough out here to put up that kind of number. You really need everything to match up, the stars to align.
You have to know coming out, just looking at the history of the event, what it's going to take. That, you know, you have to be looking at least 800 in the singles event, or close to it in some years.
And even to have a 800 look, it's a matter of making shots and repeating over and catching even one hit here or there is enough to, could be 20 pins on a string of strikes. That drops you from first to fifth maybe. I mean, it's crazy how it works, and with 60,000 participants, that's how it works out. It's just how it is, plain and simple.
Well, I wouldn't say anybody's dominant at this event, of course, with different conditions and different locations. Most years, you know, there's a lot of players who bowl well, often. Mike Shady, of course, a two-time champ here, and has never shot under 1900. But there's also so many guys in the history of this event that it was the day of their lives, and that's what it usually takes here. Folks we didn't hear of before and may not have heard from since. We talked about Matt Wegan earlier. 2 titles in 2011. Just came out of nowhere. Good bowler back home. But he shined for that day here at the Open Championships. Matt McNeil was a talented younger bowler before his breakout performance in 2010. And then he's been in the spotlight ever since, so he's one who's stuck around. And we talked about Chip McKee earlier. He's a good bowler. He's a classic bowler, as they say. He's on in years a little bit, but you know, he's always been great regionally, and he shined on that day in 2007. And an eagle is something that he'll always have now. So if you're going to have that breakout, you're going to have the day of your life, Bo Gergen, this is the place to do it.
Couldn't agree more. We just have to figure out how to do that.
Well, and the day of our lives might barely be inside the loaded cash number, unfortunately. I felt like I had the day of my life when I shot almost 1950 a couple of years ago. And maybe there's a glass ceiling on the media department, and we just haven't admitted it yet or accepted it.
Well, you did find out through our research this year in the off-season at USBC headquarters back in, I believe, in 1988, was it? That a member of the then ABC media relations team was one of just a handful of bowlers, either 3 or 4, to roll a perfect game. So it can be done. A story can be written.
Can be done, certainly.
Although I'm not writing your story, though.
It's already written. Just got to change the date. Questionnaires filled out. Did have the front 8 once in Albuquerque in 2008. And I felt the pressure, squeezed it. Got 9 on the next shot. started out singles 100 over, and then the transition, the blues set in and squeaked out a nice number and a nice prize check. But it's all about putting together 3 games, knowing the transition, making the right ball choices. We've seen a lot of ball changes here today on this pair. Some folks in the chat room have noticed Alex Diaz, although he's been consistent since game 1, he's made a lot of ball changes along the way. And we've seen a lot of miscues on spares today. And certainly 10 pins could be the difference. And even just taking home any prize money at all. 1 pin could be the difference. We had a tournament director back in our youth days. Nice roll 3-pin there for Diaz. But, right before the second block of qualifying, he always said, remember, that single pin spare in the 8th frame of the 8th game of qualifying, that could be the difference between going home today or bowling tomorrow.
And then after you missed the 7-pin, what happened?
Aaron Smith with the jokes.
Funny like.
I bought a smaller house. I went to a state college. So Aaron, I think overall today's setup, we got everything spelled right, it looks like, so that's good. And no issues. Got the track logo. Spinning ever so carefully. Some happy folks looking at the new deal.
Got to have some excitement on both ends of the National Bowling Stadium. You got some exercise?
Gotta have the exercise. A little better than, was it last year already? With our first broadcast, the Chipper Key. We got lost forever in cyberspace.
Second.
Third? Either way, we got off to a rough start in 2013, so.
Because we had the legend of Dung Ho to kick off 2013, and then I believe Curtis Odom, who's our current regular all events leader. His crew came in. We got to see Jason Narlock get Narlocked in for a $2.99 in his very first USBC Open Championships. And then the things got broke, and then they went black and white. Then we lost the camera.
It's always an adventure. So it's a sport bowling lane conditions, and sometimes it feels like sport live streaming as well. Great shot there from Diaz. Back on track.
Get on the horse ball. Got my Emil reference in for the day.
Mike Diaz looking for 3 in a row.
Saws him up.
It's like he's getting comfortable just in time to pack up and go home to Colorado, but a strong finish here. Should put him in the money, 170, 187. Still a big game out there, 267. Still possible.
Could be in the 660s with it by punching out.
David Anthony looking for the elusive all-spare game here. She has yet to strike through 8 frames after that 231. It's amazing how quickly things can change. Aaron Smith getting some credit in the chat room for the wittiest thing he never said, or eventually said. So I'll let you have that one. It's okay.
It wasn't up to me. It was up to Lucas Wiseman's fantastic editing skills and my great timing. after you originally said it. But I will gladly take full credit.
If you're curious about the lane conditions or anything that you're seeing here at the Open Championships, you can go to bowl.com/openchamp. Click on the information tab on the right side of your screen, and it's all laid out there for you. You see the rules, frequently asked questions, lane conditions, graphs, 2D, 3D, overhead, you name it. Eric Pearson has provided so much information for you. Live stream schedule. You go back to that original right side menu. You find the subboard, past results. You can learn about Bowling Ball Express, the VIP program, and showcase lanes, side tournaments, Captain's Club, and more. It's all there for you if you have any questions. As always, feel free to find us by email, on Facebook or Twitter, or come on down to the National Bowling Stadium, and we're glad to steer you in the right direction. We also have webcams set up in the venue. There's 3 streaming video cameras across the house. You can check out the action. We have them preset to certain lanes at 3-minute intervals, and they'll shift. And then you can check out another group. And then, of course, our traditional point-and-click cameras give you the opportunity to zoom in and zoom out and look around the venue, check out the scoreboards wherever possible, and more. You find all that on the tournament page on bowl.com. We have similar features for the Women's Championships. That event kicks off April 11th across town, Reno Sparks Convention Center, and then returns to the NBS next year alongside the new event. We haven't talked about that at all today. The USBC Mixed. Great opportunity for families to travel and bowl together. The Mixed will have 4-player teams, 2 men and 2 women. And then we'll have mixed doubles as well. And it'll all be part of the Women's Championships excitement moving forward. Look for that event to debut next year, and registration will open in June for both the Women's Championships and the Mixed Championships, so don't miss out. And question in the chat room, how did Matt Rush bowl in singles? And he had 608 to our right, 178, 225, and 205.
And that gives him an all events total of 1862. He was part of the Coach's Corner 1 team that is currently leading. It's actually the only member of the team not on our feature pair, so 1862 in the books for Mr. Rush out of Aurora, Colorado.
All right, Aaron, we're getting down to it. Finishing up the 9th frame here, and we'll see if we can throw some strikes in the final frame and finish up with some decent scores. Mike Diaz working on a 4-bagger. Alex Diaz still has 2 teen out there, and a nice set for him. So
David Anthony, all spares through 9. She threw a very nice shot in 40 last time, and the 10-pin stood. Let's see if this can get going here. The high hard one takes care of it. Clean game is intact. Nice break for Diaz in the 9th, tripping over, or crossing over. Make it 5 in a row. Decent count. David Anthony will be in the 620s. To go along with 672 in team and 590 in doubles. Mike Dre will be in the 600s here. Already at 604, he can max out at 634.
These guys should be easily plus overall in the team all events. area.
They were minus 133 in doubles, so they still had some cushion room. So I'd imagine they'll be at the top of the team all events board when it's all said and done. 199.
Raising that bar just a notch or two. I'm confident we'll see that number approach the 10,000 mark a number of times this year. Last year, a record number of 10,000s. Folks are just getting smarter and practicing harder.
$1884, 2014 for David Anthony.
Take that any year.
That would be a new high for me. As well as Matt Rush's 1862. Basically anything that starts with a 1 and an 8.
Yeah, I believe in 99 years out of 100, that should be enough to get you some prize money.
Looks like Brandon Freeman finished 176 after the big start, so once again, still a memory, still even the chance to step up in that third game with a chance at the top of the leaderboard is something special. So
things are getting quiet around us. Lane machines are out. Too bad you can't see them. The flex. I almost want to call it the Ford Flex. It's the the lane walker flex model Kegel. Getting it done here for us. There's Jeff Jensen talking nice to one of the machines while the other one is walking lane to lane next to him.
$1864 in the books for Mike Dre.
Mac Dre?
Mike Dre. Streeter mixes him up on his final ball of 2014.
That's another
for 587.
Guaranteed.
Oh, 2 pins. Nice. That's exactly right.
Mike Diaz finishes up 243 for 600 on the nose.
Not by a whole lot. This roll was over though, so I'm glad fishing all the way.
Final couple shots coming right up. Alex Diaz going to finish things out for this group. No doubt we'll see them again in various areas of the sport. PBA Senior Tour, PBA 50. David Anthony in the Southwest, of course, and back here at the Open Championships. A lot of accomplishments from these guys. Just not today. A solid effort, nothing to be upset about. And Diaz will end it, missing the 10 pin. That is going to do it. 183 for 588. And it has grown quiet. Aaron Smith, do you have anything to add before we say goodbye?
No, I was excited to get our first look at doubles and singles today, and as we said, first of many. Hope everyone enjoyed it. We got a look at a few different styles, a few different ways to play the lanes. So I know you like to wrap things up. So by all means, sir, go right ahead.
All right. Well, from the first broadcast of the year from the 2014 USBC Open Championships, the first of many. This is Matt Canizaro and Aaron Smith from the National Bowling Stadium. That's the news for now. We'll see you on the lanes.